So we finally made it down to the water itself, down to the Sea of Galilee. And I mean, what's great about this place is so many things are set in and around this water, literally on the water sometimes. So we've got the story of the storm that Jesus stills here, right on the water. We've got the story of Jesus walking on water, Peter going out to meet him, successfully for a while and then not so successfully, and all sorts of things around this shore. But to be at the water itself is quite amazing. And what's striking is at the moment the whole thing looks really flat and fairly calm. We've just been sitting here listening to the water lapping on the beach, and it's gentle. The whole thing is quiet compared to, say, the hustle and bustle of Jerusalem. And to think, well, firstly that there's some sort of storm in the story in Mark 4 and the parallels is quite an amazing thing in itself. So for this water to be stirred up, not impossible, but a dramatic change of events really. But secondly, the idea that this kind of quiet backwater, it just seems that we're in such a quiet place, is the setting for so many of Jesus' important miracles. There's a big contrast there as well to me. So in the story where Jesus walks on water, the disciples are in a boat and a figure comes walking out to them. Peter, always the one to kind of, well, in a way, act before he thinks, perhaps, but he's the one who jumps out of the boat immediately with some kind of faith to walk towards Jesus. But the problem is, ultimately, that faith kind of subsides once he looks down and he thinks, I'm walking on water. But no, the faith subsides and he falls into the water.
Hang on, tell us what your name is.
Okay, so my name is Peter. So if I was a bit braver, if I had a bit more faith, maybe I should try walking across this.
Come on.
Okay, I really do. I really want to get in this water. So in another story as well, in John 21, Peter's actually naked when he's on a boat and Jesus appears on the seashore. And actually, the setting for that is traditionally thought to be here, right, on this beach where Jesus makes a fire and the disciples, seeing this man, finally recognise who it is. This is after Jesus' death, so it's a resurrection appearance of Jesus on the seashore, making breakfast for them, basically. So Peter's naked in the boat, he puts on a garment, it says, and he swims towards the shore to see the risen Jesus. I'm not going to get naked, and I'm not going to attempt to walk on water, but I am going to go in it. So don't tell me about all the things that can kind of sting you or cut you until I get back. Heck, I'm going to run into the Sea of Galilee. Yeah, it's cold. So in that story where Jesus made a fire on the beach here, on the shore here, Peter just dives into the water and swims towards the shore. Well, I didn't get bitten, so I love it out there. So we're now inside a church now, basically on the beach, right next to the Sea of Galilee still. And you can see this rock which comes from the beach now into the church along here. And this is traditionally assigned to being the place where Jesus lights this fire on the beach when he's looking out and sees the disciples in their fishing boat. Now, of course, that's where in John 21, the disciples have been fishing all night and they haven't caught anything. And he tells them to throw the net on the other side of the boat. And they do catch a miraculous haul of fish. And in fact, when they bring this haul in, Jesus cooks some of this fish on the fire, and they have a meal together at this point. So the church has been built around this site of the fire, around this rock, and this church is called the Primacy of St. Peter.